Hello everybody, Dragon47 here. How is it going with you guys today? So, Great League unfortunately ended by the time that I'm recording this video, but I want to continue working on Great League videos so I can continue to work on other projects that I want to work on, things like Ultra League and Master League in the future. I just want to finish out the Great League for as much as I can and try to cover everything that is mainly good in the Great League. I will do updates for the Great League after I get the main stuff covered, but for now we're going to continue down this train of what has been good in Great League, and a really, really good Pokemon that has been in Great League for a very long time, and OG happens to be the Pokemon known as Azumarill. Now, Azumarill is really, really good due to the fact that it has a lot of HP and it has a lot of bulk. It is one of the tankiest Mons in the game, and frankly, it has quite literally one of the highest overall team composition scores like ever. Pretty much everybody runs Azumarill if you don't have a better option to run. It just is that good, and it will continue to be that good probably till the end dawn of time, mainly due to its amazing typing and just the fact that it is a good Pokemon. The moves I preferably run on it are Bubble, Ice Beam, and Play Rough. You can run Hydro Pump to do the whole Registeel counter thing, but even with Hydro Pump, I come to find that you still lose out to 2 Zap Cannons even if you get 2 Hydro Pumps off before you throw into the Registeel. I just don't see it, being all that much of value, but then again, some people do just run the Hydro Pump play because why not? It can be good. There's reasons for it, and frankly, it's not obviously the worst option. The only thing I will say is you actively want to be running Bubble on Azumarill because its other fast move honestly isn't that great. As of the current moment, Azumarill ranks 44th place on the PvPoke list, but don't let that low listing fool you. As I've said in the past, any of the top 50 Pokemon, in my opinion, tend to be really, really good, and Azumarill happens to be one of those Pokemon that's absolutely crazy good. Now, the main reasons you run it is obviously to counter its longtime nemesis, Altaria, because Altaria is a menace if you don't have an answer to it. It can take down Sableye, which is pretty big, because Sableye doesn't have a whole lot of counters as of the moment. It can take down Shadow Swampert, it can take down Galarian Stunfisk, and it can take down Alolan Ninetales. Things you want to watch out for while playing this Pokemon, you have to watch out for that Lantern Noctowl Core. That's the main reason most people aren't even running Azumarill as of the moment, because the main team comp that most people see, and a really big one that is very popular and has gotten many people to Masters at this point, is quite literally Lantern, Noctowl, Medicham, and all 3 of these Pokemon counter Azumarill in a sense. There are some things you can do to try to play into those things and still win, but it's still just not quite what you're looking for, and in general, it's just hard for Azumarill to actually do any of the things that it needs to do due to the fact that Lantern is just the dominant water type of the meta at the current moment. Yeah, like I said, it still has perfectly good play. It's just had a lot of falling off in the previous metas due to the fact that the meta just keeps changing, and the changes aren't really good for it as a Pokemon. But again, that doesn't mean that it's not a great Pokemon, due to the fact that it, again, has seriously good team composition, and you could partner Altaria with something crazy like Galarian Stunfisk and get a crazy core going based off of just that. And Galarian Stunfisk can deal with a lot of the stuff that Azu can't, especially that Lantern. Azumarill is more of a tank of the team. Azumarill, when you're usually running it, is going to be one of the 2 tanks if you're running double tank, or maybe even your lead sometimes. I personally, when it comes to running Azumarill, I don't run a whole lot of Azumarill. You can tell by the level of the Azumarill I have and the amount of candies that I have for it. I'm just waiting so that I have enough XLs before I actually commit to it, because I don't want to go ahead and do that and not be able to run it at full power, because I hate running underpowered Pokemon in the Great League. That just makes me not happy, because then I lose matchups that I normally wouldn't lose. Fast moves, it can learn Bubble and Rock Smash. I'm going to tell you right now, you want Bubble. Bubble is the good move. Rock Smash is not good. Please do not run Rock Smash on Azumarill. Like, it is just not a good move, and frankly, I don't think that anybody would actively want to be running this move, even if they thought it was good. Again, Ice Beam, Play Rough, and Hydro Pump are its only 3 moves. Some people run Hydro Pump instead of Play Rough. Some people run Play Rough instead of Hydro Pump. Either way, you absolutely need Ice Beam on Azumarill. I cannot stress this enough. Ice Beam is super duper important on Azumarill due to the fact that it is the fastest move that it can get to. And there are so many flyers in meta that not having Ice Beam would be a detriment to Azumarill. Suggested teammates. It could be paired pretty well with Stunfisk, Medicham, Umbreon, Lickitung, Registeel. It's a good Pokemon. Like, in general, it's pretty easy to get because you can just walk out in the wild and I guarantee you'll find a Marill at some point. And even if you don't find Marill out in the wild because there's like an event or something, I've caught so many Marills just by playing in the PvP Pokemon Go League. They just hand out Marills for free. And that's like one of the best ways where you can get just general candies for Marill. You probably won't want to run any of the Marill that you get from the PvP League because they guarantee them to be like, what, 2 stars or better? And they always have like decent to mid or to really good stats like all the time. But just having that accessible to you to Pineapp and to turn into candies is huge. And you do need those XL candies to max it out all the way, which is why during this season event where you trade and get the XLs, it might be super duper good for you to get Pokemon like Diggersby and Azumarill, because if you start trading all of those, you can get all those XLs you need, so you can start running those teams in the Great League. I cannot stress this enough. Definitely be grinding those XLs. So these are some team comps that I decided to come up with Azumarill. I threw a few spicy ones in here. I threw a few meta-relevant ones in here. In general, these teams should all provide some pretty good matches for you if you choose to take any of these into Great League. And if you don't like any of the ones that you see up here, please feel free to let me know in the comments what Azumarill team you would suggest to other people who would want to try running an Azumarill team. And maybe even suggest 1 or 2 to me. I'm dying and interested to know what type of team comps you guys can come up with for Azumarill. So for my first team comp, I'm running Stunfisk in the lead with Azumarill and Altaria in the back. It's your standard double tank with a single DPS. Lead Stunfisk, I guess you could lead Altaria instead, but I guess that's up to you. Again, another double tank team core is Lurantis and Azumarill with Registeel. Registeel, Azu being the tanks, obviously. Lurantis being the main DPS. Another Great League team that I decided to make is another, once again, a double tank DPS build with Medicham, Lickitung, and Azu. This one right here is actually one that I grabbed off of a friend who had suggested this team to me. This one is Altaria, Azumarill, Sableye. They said they had a really good time running this. I think they're in Veteran right now because of this team, and they used it mainly due to the fact that they wanted to find a good way to run just some basic mons that they know that they could run that have been good in the meta for a little while. And honestly, all of these Pokemon are direct counters to Medicham. Like, Medicham actually should lose in all of these matchups except maybe the Azumarill. I know Medicham can... If Azumarill gets a play rough off on a Medicham, Medicham is going to have a rough time, but for the most part, if the Medicham is smart, they're not going to let that happen. Pretty much, it's just good to have the double counter for Medi, and Azu just kind of covers the flyers and the other sorts of things. Just a really good team comp. And that is pretty much it. This covers my entire video off of the Pokemon known as Azumarill. Let me know what you want to see for a Pokemon here on a video. Maybe I'll start doing some streams for the Great League. I plan on doing that more this next season. I didn't really get a whole lot of time to do a whole lot of recording for Pokemon this season because I was taking the time to relearn, you know, and pretty much pick up where I had left off last season. And I was trying to collect a whole bunch of good PvP Pokemon so that I could actually compete and do better. I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.